A Gentleman in Moscow takes place in Russia, a country on the verge of massive change. The 1917 revolution and the execution of the royal family have sent a ripple of change right the way across Russia overnight. During the following 4 years, the Leninists reorganised the country. The Tsarist aristocracy is eradicated and Russia once more belongs to her people. We pick up episode 1 with our main character, Alexander Rostov, who watches as a kid is taken away by 2 guards, kicking and screaming down a hallway. The men return and Rostov is brought before the People's Court, and specifically a man named Vyshinsky. The Count explains that for the last 4 years he's been living in Suite 317 of the Metropole Hotel, following his house being burned down. He doesn't have an occupation per se, but his return to Russia has caused concerns with the court. Why is he back? After all, Rostov's poem has been accused of calling revolutionary action. As a result, he's thrown out. He's not killed though, despite the insistence from a few of the authorities that he should be, but instead Rostov is going to be on house arrest at that hotel. If he sets foot outside the Metropole again, he'll be shot dead. It's here we learn we're in Moscow 1921, and Rostov is escorted all the way to his suite, up on the 3rd floor. Once there, he's greeted by a strange man, the same one we saw briefly at the court meeting just now in the episode. This is Osip, although we're not actually told that right now unless you put subtitles on.
Spoilers.
What?
Read ahead, spoil all the surprises.
He's there to show Rostov to his new quarters, which happens to be a secret room away from his current suite. It has a window at least, but it's rather inhospitable and it's basically a prison cell without the bars. Osip repeats that he needs to stay in the hotel, and here we see Rostov going about his daily routine. The water is grim and there isn't much room to move, but the other guests in the hotel are surprised at how Rostov keeps his dignity and refuses to be beaten down. This routine goes on through a big old montage as we reach day 47. Here, Prince Nikolai Petrov arrives and explains that he's been allowed to keep a room in the palace, but he's basically been cast out too. He's a bit skittish, although Rostov's suggestion for having a drink at dinner is met with a thin smile. Whilst there, Rostov explains that he came back to Russia because he wanted to help his grandmother to safety on a ship over to England. Nikolai also apologises for Rostov losing his sister, but explains that he actually knows someone who could provide papers to ensure safe transit for them to get out the country. Rostov is shocked by this and remains steadfast that Russia is his home and he's not about to leave anytime soon. Things inside the hotel are turning a bit sour though, and this change starts with a man threatening Rostov with the barber and slicing part of his mustache off. More curious is a little girl that shows up at the dinner table, whom we soon learn is called Nina. She stands out with her bright yellow dress and has an inquisitive mind. She quizzes Rostov about his past. After this, Rostov is told to see the hotel manager. In his office, the manager explains that some of the staff have continued to call Rostov Your Excellency and other terms befitting of royalty. Now, the manager believes this has outlived its purpose, given what's going on outside the hotel, and suggests this stops sooner rather than later. After all, the hotel was a dangerous place and he could find himself in a rather unpleasant situation. Rostov certainly takes his warning seriously. When the manager is asked to leave the office, Rostov is left alone and he checks behind the paintings and finds some dueling pistols. This also ties into an earlier chat he had with Nina at the dinner table about his past. Now, throughout the episodes we continue to see flashes of this with the royal palace and an accident involving his family. However, we don't see the full extent of this, so presumably it'll be explored in future episodes. Back in the hotel, Rostov realises the threat and decides to entertain Petrov's idea of leaving. He tells Rostov that they're going to need disguises, and what better way to do that than dressing as a Red Army soldier. If they're to get out of here, they're going to have to leave behind all their belongings, which includes a particularly fond painting Rostov has of Helena. Rostov hands over some money to Nikolai and he gets to work putting his plan in motion. Fast forward to day 65 and there's still no Nikolai Petrov. However, Nina brings Rostov with her upstairs, where she boasts that she has a pass key that opens every door in the hotel. She shows him all the way down to the basement where furnaces are burning and suggestively mentions how this would work wonders to destroy secret letters. I'm guessing this is probably going to be a hint to something that's going to happen later on in the series, but
Spoilers. What?
there are also vents that allow them to spy on different rooms and also the staff running the hotel. Rostov sees a very different side to the hotel, and it's interesting because the colours here change from being warm to somewhat blue and dark, reflecting that inner change of heart that Rostov is feeling. While they're walking about the hotel, he finds a letter that seemingly incriminates Petrov completely. The paper is written in Russian and we can't actually see what's written there unless you speak Russian, but there is a red stamp, and just like that, Petrov shows up at the hotel 2 days later. Rostov explains in confidence that the authorities are rounding people up and putting them on trial. This explains a document we've just seen. Rostov goes on to explain that it doesn't matter if they're guilty or not, the people want blood and they're more than happy to give it. Rostov explains that Petrov's name is on a list and their time frame for escaping has been fast forwarded considerably. They don't have weeks as Petrov believes, and Rostov encourages the prince to get out now. Rostov, however, can't go because of Helena. Before Petrov leaves, he hands over a note to Rostov at the bar and explains it will give him safe passage. One of the waiters watches him from afar, and we've seen this shady guy throughout the episode acting somewhat suspiciously.
I fear you're underestimating the sneakiness, sir.
As we see, it all but confirms he's a spy. Thankfully, Rostov doesn't take the travel documents himself. One of the soldiers approaches Petrov, smashes his violin to bits and takes him away. Outside, crawling in the snow, Nikolai Petrov is shot in the head. The gunshot reverberates inside the hotel as Osip approaches our protagonist. He quizzes the second set of travel documents that Nikolai had, and when he leaves, the episode comes to a close. Thanks for watching, and do let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Smash a like or subscribe to the channel, your support is very much appreciated. I'm Greg Wheeler, and from all of us over here at The Review Geek, we'll see you on the next video.